Hey guys, welcome to EU4 Mega Campaign first session overview. And this one I'm playing Serbia, but I'm not gonna start talking about it before I cover Asia first. Things here look far simpler than in Europe, and I don't think I have to spend so much time talking about Asia. Now in Asia we have 4 players. First one is Gaku playing Ming, then Shadowguard playing Japan, and Malacca played by no ones. I'm not sure what's gonna happen to Vijayanagar. We had Chad playing that, but they are in a really tough spot. As for the rest of the players, Ming is just growing steadily. Nothing spectacular, nothing out of ordinary, although there is one interesting thing I wanted to show you, and that is his first idea is espionage. Now, espionage is not that bad right now. He can get some bonus research points from espionage. It's not terrible, but one thing that makes it far better than it normally is, in this game we actually have ledger turned off. Now you can't see that right now because I'm in the single player and I'm just browsing for the save, but in the actual multiplayer game we have ledger turned off, which means we can only gather intel by using espionage. So it's really interesting choice. I'm not sure if it actually plays off if you pick it as a first idea, but it's definitely something interesting to consider. Now over here we have Japan not in the very best spot, but he seems to have things out under his control actually. Now I've been talking about Japan with a few other people and they thought that Japan was doing terribly. I don't really agree with that point of view. I think he has 5 vassals, some of them he can already integrate. Shiba and Otomo he can easily integrate if he wants to. And pretty much that's it. Like, the rest of Japan will soon be annexed by him or will be vassalized, so I think it's in a decent spot. Now over here we have Malacca, played by no ones. He opened with, I believe, exploration, and I don't know if he's going to pick expansion once he finishes exploration, but he might choose not to. Now he's gonna have very strong game here, no position in Southeast Asia, and unless he chooses to fight Ming, I think he's gonna have a great game. Now moving towards the west, I have to stop Southeast Asia. I guess the Timurids are also considered as an Asian player, but since they have huge influence in Europe, I'm kinda counting them as a European country. Now they expanded quite a lot over here, and soon enough, instead of focusing on India, they decided to go and start a war with Muscovy. Now this one is very interesting war, and as you can see, Muscovy had a few allies there. Poland, as a player, decided to, hey, if Timurids expand over here in Muscovy, then they will be a direct threat to us later on. So they decided to help a bit, even though they actually haven't committed that much to this war. Now from my point of view, I think Muscovy should be able to win this, even though their treasure is far lower than Timurid one, and also Ming is supporting Timurids financially, so Timurids can definitely stay far longer in this war than Muscovy. So Muscovy needs some quick wins and to wipe those Timurid stacks and battles to be able to win this, because once they progress into Timurid territories it will be very hard to fight them because of the steppes. There is one big thing though. There is a new patch that kinda nerfs hordes, but I don't think it will be such a huge deal, at least for this war. We'll see how the session develops in further, but I think Muscovy has a decent chance of winning this war. If Muscovy loses, then Europe might be in some serious trouble should Timurids decide to expand further into west. Now I'm moving to my country, and I'll talk about, I don't think I'm going to talk too much about England and Castile. Portugal, they basically played quite peaceful games, kind of like AI. Castile and Portugal expanding over here. I think Portugal is already colonizing. England not doing that much actually. They have managed to vassalize Scotland, and aside from that I don't know if they gain anything else. They might be going for Iceland right now. Now moving to Balkans, where the things were, for me, the most interesting. Was quite eventful. So going into the sessions I had deals with Venice and Austria that would support the war against Ottomans, since all three of us had interest in driving Ottomans out of Europe, out of Balkans, because none of us wants to border Ottomans and have that threat on themselves. Which meant that we needed a coalition to beat Ottomans, and there were a few ways of beating them early on. I think I already explained those, so not gonna waste too much time on that. Anyway, what happened was I've managed to vassalize Albania very quickly. Ottomans didn't see that move, and they were kinda late for it. They didn't start a war in Albania, which would put them in a war with me directly. So they avoided that, and soon after that, both Venice and Austria protected Byzantium, which was a great move, which meant Ottomans could only expand over here, get their horse from Karman and Kandar. They did that, and then they decided to, since Austria was in some huge war with Bohemia, they decided to declare war on Byzantium. Now they did that. Austria still joined the Byzantine war and tried to buy some time, protect Byzantium. It wasn't ideal because we counted on Venice to protect Byzantium, but Venice didn't join the war. And we already thought that, Venice might backstab Austria and me, because they do have some interest in backstabbing Austria. But, as you can see, Austria lost quite a few territories. I'm going to explain how that happened. Anyway, soon after that, Ottomans were still in a war with Byzantium and Austria when my and Venice's truce with Ottomans expired. So we decided to declare war on the Ottomans. So Venice justified a claim on Yadrine, which is their capital, and then declared war. Now, ideally, I wanted Vidin from this war. I wanted Vidin and Skopje, which is my core. Serbia starts with a core in Skopje, so I wanted Vidin to be able to expand into Wallachia, but even though we won quite a devastating war against Ottomans, completely destroyed their troops in few battles over here. First, the defensive battle in the mountains with Skanderberg, which is 5-5 general, and then few defensive battles in Edirne, completely won us the war against Ottomans. Now, unfortunately, I didn't end up with Vidin. Now, at that point, I wasn't sure if that was an intentional thing, or did Venice just fuck up with the peace deal. The thing is, Florence was in this war, for the dying moments of it, and I don't know why Venice joined, I guess. Florence, sorry. They mostly joined for division, but somehow they ended up occupying Vidin, and Venice didn't want to give... Well, actually, they couldn't give Vidin to Florence. I don't know why that wasn't transferred to me, and I was really pissed. In either case, I still had territories that I wanted from Ottomans. Meanwhile, Austria did some really, really stupid thing, and that was they allied Hungary. At one point, they got an event to get a personal union with Hungary, but that meant that they had to break the alliance, which meant they would have the truce with Hungary, so they decided to not only break the alliance, but also break the truce and attack Hungary. Now, they did win that war, but that resulted in a huge coalition against them, which made them lose entire Styria, which is terrible. Now, there was another coalition against France, which was kind of weak, and France only lost Auvergne and I think one more territory over there. And there was another coalition against Poland, in which Poland lost Lithuania. I mean, the personal union over Lithuania, which was quite terrible for them. Now, going into the second session, towards the end of the previous session, I declared war on Ottomans for, I think, Vidin? For Tarnovo, okay. for this one. But my goal is to get Venice so I can then expand into Wallachia. Now, Venice supported me in this war, also Austria supported me in this war, but as you can see here, Hungarian independence supported by Venice, which means Austria and Venice are still fighting even though they are not in a war. Actually, they're on the same sides in this one. Now, there are a few possibilities for me to do what to do in the second session. I could side with Venice, I could side with Ottomans. Both of them offered me some deals. Austria is keeping quiet because they are in just a terrible spot right now. There is nothing they can do. They're down to 4 provinces. They're barely holding the emperorship right now, as you can see here. Only because Saxony is a player. If Saxony wasn't a player, they would be in a just horrible shape. In any case, Ottomans offered me a deal to betray Venice, give them all of the Greek cores, and then they would just give me entire Bulgaria over there. Which seems like a decent deal, but you know what, I don't really want Ottomans over there. I'd rather have Venice, which is weaker than Ottomans, to be hostile towards me than Ottomans kind of non-hostile, which I can never trust them. So, ideally, I would like to side with Venice, but then he's really stubborn, and I don't know what he's going to do in this war. He wants me and Austria to cross over to Anatolia and fight Ottomans. Now, Ottomans still have a lot of troops. They have Syria and Iraq as vassals, Bulgaria also as a vassal, and I really don't want to cross there. I have no clue what's going to happen during this war, but there are several possibilities. All of them are very, very complicated. There is also a possibility of some other player joining Ottoman side, but I don't want to reveal all the things before the session, so I might keep some secrets there. Now, there was a possibility for me to westernize. Chose not to right now. I want to keep ahead in military tech, so we are able to fight. We also have 2-5 general, which is insane, and if I need to fight some equal wars, I can probably win just due to high military tech and great general. I think we're focusing... No, we are not focusing on military. I thought we were focusing on military, but it's not terrible. Our air is 4-4, which is not bad. And as for ideas, I'm going for influence first. After that, I think we're going for economic to get rid of our inflation from gold mine. Anyway, that's pretty much it. There are some countries I probably should have mentioned a bit more, but I don't want to drag this video for a very long time. Anyways, see you guys. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the Sunday session.